Alright, welcome. This is my first submission of Cuphead. This one is for all bosses expert current patch, which means I'll be going through all the bosses in the game, all of which are mandatory to beat the game anyway, outside of the devil, on the expert difficulty, which is the highest difficulty, and on current patch, which is the latest version of the game. This one is also gonna have a donation incentive for the category to be upgraded to all flags, which is going through all the bosses and the optional running gun stages, which I think works out really well since bosses-wise the two categories are exactly the same. So all that changes is all flags has to do those additional running gun stages that would otherwise be optional, and it's purely extra content, really. This video is only gonna feature all flags for that very reason, because the bosses are done in exactly the same way, bosses. And as a final thing to note, I will need a completed file, because you normally only unlock expert after beating the game once, and so to get it off of a fresh file, I need to do this glitch. On a completed file, I have to select expert, and then I'm done. I just have to quit the title. Then when I make a new file, magically the default option for the difficulty will be expert, even though I normally could not select it. Okay, I'll delete this previous file and start the run. After this short intro, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over to Forest Valleys, which is the first running gun stage. This one we also do in all bosses, so it's the only running gun stage that they also done in that first category. And that is because by doing Forest Valleys, I can get 5 coins, which I can spend in the shop to get extra weapons, which speed up the bosses considerably. So even in all bosses, even though this running gun stage is technically optional, we still do this because it speeds up the rest of the game. But all the other 5 running gun stages, they will only be featured in all flags. Okay, this stage, not much to say outside of potential trick I could get towards the end. There is a frame perfect touch clip, which if I do get, will allow me to skip fighting the Acorn Maker mini boss, which is saves around 4 to 5 seconds. So I'm gonna try it, and there we go. Get the final coin, and that's the stage. Alright, as I said, I just got these coins, and I'm gonna be spending those in the shop. The 2 weapons I'm gonna get are gonna be Lobber and Sprite Shot. Sprite Shot is the highest damaging weapon in the game, so that's very nice. I can use that pretty much all over the place, and it will be my default weapon. Lobber, the reason why I buy Lobber is because its Axe move is glitched. Basically, there's this thing in the game that's called the Axe moves. Basically, once you hit bosses, you get access to Axe moves for your weapons, which so every time you hit a boss, builds up your super meter, and once you get a card, you can do one of those. Turns out the Lobber Axe actually has a glitch. I'm gonna try and use it right now. And so as you saw, I didn't aim for the boss, I aimed at the ground. And it turns out, when you splash a Lobber Axe on the ground, its splash damage explosion actually ends up dealing double damage. And so if the boss is anywhere near the splash damage radius, it takes double damage. And sometimes you can even deal triple damage. There's yet another glitch with that, where sandwiching that Lobber Axe in between the direct impact hitbox and the splash damage hitbox ends up dealing double damage plus the direct impact damage, and so ends up being triple damage. Alright, that was the road pack, and I think that was a pretty good place to explain it, to explain the double damage Lobbers, because there wasn't that much going on in that fight. But rest assured, the rest of the bosses are definitely gonna present a pretty big challenge. Starting from these guys, I'm gonna both trying to aim for the phase 2 skip and for 1 cycle on the final phase. So let's see if I get both of those. That's pretty hard. Okay, I'm gonna make sure I get rid of most of the flies that I can. Okay. Then these ones actually deal quadruple damage because I'm hitting 2 hitboxes. So this one should easily get the phase 2 skip. Very nice. Now I have a full meter, so if I don't get the Bolts pattern, I'm gonna be trying to go for a 1 cycle. Let's see what I get. Okay, I got Bolts. I'm probably gonna skip this trick. Yeah, I took damage even. You don't really want to stay up close. If you have 3 HP or 2 and you get lucky, you can still get a 1 cycle here, but it's too risky. Not taking that risk. There we go. So that's the fight. Next up is Cuphead Grande. Not that much to say about that fight. Since it bounces around and Spread Shot only hits up close, I'm gonna be trying to make sure that all of my spread bullets connect. So I have to be pretty careful with my aiming, but apart from that, it's gonna be a pretty standard fight. So this guy is known to be a troll at times, because each time he jumps, he has can randomly delay his jump, so basically you have to make sure that you're on your toes and react to everything he does. There we go, that's a delay. Some double damage loppers again. This phase is gonna be pretty short. And we're trying to make the final phase as short as possible too. I missed that one, that's okay. Should be done soon. And that's the fight. Next one is well, Hildeberg is the first plain stage, and what that means is it's basically just another gameplay mode, and more closely resembles a shoot 'em up game. And as a first stage, it gets pretty tough, especially on expert. Lots of bullets on screen at the same time, so it's pretty rough to avoid some of those sometimes. And it's made harder by the fact that I'm taking 2 intentional damage boosts, which means I absolutely cannot take a hit at all. And so here goes the fight. And I'll show you what the intentional damage boost is. It's this one. There's a plain X right there. And this one ends up dealing a lot of damage ticks, which makes this phase pretty fast. Okay, make sure you dodge that. I'm gonna be doing the same for the next transformation phase. Trying to get rid of the stars, nice. Use a plain X like that, and just as the stars spawn, and you can basically just avoid having to deal with those. Same thing for those mini blimps. Pretty handy tool right there, because it basically just goes through entities, so don't have to worry about losing damage by shooting another entity. This phase also gets pretty rough. We'll have to manage the UFOs, minding their colors, their stars, naming those EX as well. Get the parry. This fight should be done. Okay, next up is Treetop Trouble. Again, this stage is normally not in bosses, it's a running on stage. If the donation incentive does get met, this stage will be played out. There's a pretty tough cycle skip. This stage has a vertical section where you have to climb up some moving platforms, and if you're fast enough, you can get an earlier cycle and save around 3 seconds. Okay, I need to focus a bit for this first section. Okay, good RNG. So I'm on pace to get the fast cycle. Here it is. Ah, I missed it. I missed the first platform. We can make it up to the leftmost platform that way if you're fast enough. That's okay. Just finishing up the stage. There's actually a way to skip this boss. Just jump above it. The jump is not very precise, but you have to be careful with the way you dash on those final few platforms, because if you dash in the wrong spot, there's actually I think it's a glitch, where if you dash in the wrong spot, you can end up locking the screen, not being able to get past it. But being able to skip the boss is completely intentional, because there's a thing in this game where you can get P ranks on running on stages, which signifies that you beat the game on pacifist, the running stage on pacifist, which is without killing bosses, so that is the only way to get past that boss without killing him. Okay, Cagney can be troublesome. He always starts with the Sid attack, and he doesn't stop until you deal enough damage. I got a 3 cycle here. I got a 2 cycle. I'm gonna just clean those up. Then go through second phase. That's okay. Should be the final phase. There you go. You have to be careful here in final phase. You can, since I'm dodging those routes that way because it's faster, he can set up a trap, which is exclusive to Expert. He can shoot one of those petals right after preparing one of those routes. And so you try and dodge those up, and then he shoots a petal as you land. You're in trouble. Okay, that is it for IL-1. Moving on to IL-2. IL-2 is where I think most of the hard bosses are at. I think it's gonna be the most intense part of the run. We're gonna be starting off with Baroness von Bonbon, which is one of the most RNG-heavy fights in the game. The way it works is she has a random selection of 5 minions, and she has to choose 3 of them from those 5, and so which minions you get will affect your final time, since some minions are faster and slower. What I'm hoping to get is, well, I'm hoping to not get Jawbreaker, and I'm hoping to not get some minions out of order. Like if I get Waffle first, for example, Waffle is a good minion, but getting it first uses times is to make it fast. I need some Yax wounds. Yeah, Jawbreaker, this one is really slow. Mainly because it has a really slow death animation, and it took a damage, so I'm gonna take a safety here. This one is pretty good. Okay. Ooh. This is that one coming. So I'm gonna have to do a slower kill here. Yeah, getting that longer death animation. I'm gonna take this parry. Final phase. Oh. Only have to deal with it like a few seconds. It's enough to make it troublesome, but we can manage. That's Baroness. Next stage. Next stage is by far the hardest running a stage in the game. It has pretty much everything: randomness, tight execution. So this one is a pretty big run killer. Though some running on stages, one running on stage later on gets harder if I don't take a safety, which I'm going to take. But yeah, there's where it's at. So let's see what kind of luck I get in this first section. Oh, yeah, that was right in the way, and so now I'm at 2 HP, which got pretty tough. I'm gonna take this damage boost, which now means I have to go through the rest of the stage with 1 HP, and especially for the final section, you'll see, it can get pretty rough with 1 HP. Okay, this one has random flying condiments from the right, and you have barely any time to react to them. I'm gonna be taking this slow. Okay, I'm trying to jump over this. Nice. That's a pretty tight jump, by the way. Okay. It's a pretty hard stage down. Next up, Worry Warbles. This fight is pretty tough. I think Warriors is the boss that gets the biggest upgrade going from regular mode to expert. Everything about him is different. He has harder eggs to dodge because they split them in 5 parts and not 3. The feathers in the second phase are faster. The baby bird in the third phase is faster and moves around more. And the final phase too is pretty crazy. Okay, I'm gonna use that. This one, especially with those baby birds higher up, can be tough to avoid. Okay, I'm gonna be using this. Oh, and that I just did there, it's called a Luigi swap. If you weapon swap and do an EX move on the same frame, you can keep shooting your regular bullets while your EX move goes off. That if you do it all over the place, it can really rack up a lot of damage. Okay, going to final phase. When the heart is out, you can only hit the heart, so that's why I'm going up. I'm waiting for him to go to the left, so that when he goes right, I can hit him with more Planiac sticks. Then I'm about to finish him off. There we go. Okay. That was a pretty tough fight. Next up is Jimmy, which is another play stage. This one is not gonna be as hard, luckily. One of our speedrunners once said that play stages feel really similar to a puzzle game, which is pretty accurate, I'd say. It's a lot about the X management and the strategy more than actually reflexes. Though here in Expert it can get pretty insane with the projectiles. Okay, the jewelry. He has 3 random attacks. This one is not as bad. Okay. For this phase, you can. There's a pretty subtle way to lose time here. Hitting these faces actually deals damage to Jimmy itself, and so any damage you deal here will be directly impacting the Jimmy's total health. So you wanna make sure that you kill all of these faces. And depending on the RNG you get, because you can get double pillars or singles, you might lose time just from that, just from having less faces to hit. I wanted to do a play next year, that's okay though. Okay, I'm gonna move to the bot pit. Gonna be luring the hat to the left and then gonna meet him. It's okay. Going to the final phase, there's just a way to cheese it. If you stand right here, pyramids cannot hit you, or rather, it just gets easier to dodge them. You don't have to manage a beam. You basically have more space to dodge stuff. That's the gist of it. Alright, Bappy is probably the hardest boss fight in the game, because I'm gonna be trying to glitch him out. Get the Bappy glitch, which is where you clear the second phase before it even starts in phase 1. And when that happens, when Bappy gets to phase 2, he's gonna be stuck there. But here in Expert, I cannot get it on all the delay patterns he does, and so I have to... There's a way to manipulate, basically. I have to count how many card bounces he does, in which case he did. Let's see how many. 5, and I don't know where this is at. Yeah, this is a 6th cycle, so I'm gonna have to wait around a bit. Wait for a more favorable pattern. This one. Oh, I over-damaged. That's okay. You can retry, and if it takes too many tries, I'm just gonna fight the boss normally, but I wanna try and show this off. It's a 5th cycle. so I'm gonna be preparing this trap right here. Alright. Okay, I got the glitch. Now, I'm just gonna have to go through this glitched phase. That's pretty hard at times. The second roller coaster too. But stalling in the air with that X moves, that helps a lot. Just gives you another option to dodge those balloons, so that's really nice. Okay, 1 or 2. You can get time below 1 minute if you get a 4-cycle pattern. Or there's even a way to get a 3-cycle. The very first pattern I got, you can potentially go for a 3-cycle there, but I decided I'm not gonna do it since it's pretty tight. Okay, now the running on stage, again, this is optional. It's only gonna get featured in the flags. There's some door clip ahead, which is pretty cool. Nice. My iframe's almost ran out. That was close. Nobody knows for sure why those door clips work, but I think an idea is those doors have a property where if you get too close, they're gonna try and push you out. And turns out there's some invisible platforms there that you can stand on, and with some weird collision, you can just get pushed out to the other side. At least that's my hypothesis. Okay, Grammatic. This boss is usually the boss that gives people the most trouble. And I'm not gonna lie, casually it also took me the most time to clear. One expert mode, I think it's harder than regular mode, but phase 2 and 3, which are the hardest phases of this boss, I think they get easier on expert, because the change that they did in expert is the clouds go in reverse, and so while in phase 1 they pull you in, for expert, when you get to phase 2 and 3 they're gonna pull you out, while for regular mode it's the opposite. They pull you out in phase 1 and then for phase 2 and 3 they pull you in. And so I think those final phases are made easier on expert. Okay. Whoops, that was the wrong EX move. Okay, that's phase 2. Final phase. I'm gonna be using Lobber mostly for this phase since it's a pretty good job. You have a good amount of time to react to those fireballs. You pretty much stay clear of the horizontal line where destroying those fireballs. Basically, it's split into 4, and one of the flames that they split in, they can potentially hit you because they go in a horizontal and vertical line. While if you stay diagonally, you're gonna be able to dodge those easily. Okay, that is aisle 2. It's about halfway through. And aisle 3 has a few difficult stages. Even the running guns here can get tough. Okay. Starting from Rumor, I'm gonna be taking a safer strat for phase 1. Since it's possible to get a 1 cycle here before to kill this policeman before it turns around, but requires a damage boost, and I wanna be taking those. I'll just take a safer strat and get a 2 cycle. Okay. Starting from the side. This boss alternates between a side pattern and a middle pattern. It's all that's random is where she starts. So right here, Got a middle pattern because I got a side pattern first. Okay, and she should be going to final phase. It's possible to kill her before even final phase starts. It's one of the tightest damage threshold to reach in the game. At least in this run. Okay. Going over to another running stage, Rugged Ridge. This is the stage that I mentioned earlier that can get harder than Fanfare Fever. But I'm gonna be taking a safer strat. Which is basically just not taking a damage boost and losing 3 to 4 seconds. You'll get to see why this stage I consider it potentially harder. Alright. I'll be taking a damage boost here. Hopefully it will be the only one. Okay. Get this guy. There's gonna be an auto-scroller. There's a way to skip this auto-scroller actually, but it involves doing a frame-perfect latch clip and then navigating most of the rest of the stage completely blind because it locks the camera once you execute that clip. And only been able to do it a few times in IL practice. And if it's done, it can save 20 seconds, which is pretty ridiculous. Okay, this is the safety I was talking about, just killing this down instead of damage boosting through it, which will be faster. Alright, and the final section, this one is quote-unquote an auto-scroller. You can just go right and skip it if you know the layout. But the problem about it is the camera doesn't quite follow you perfectly, you're very far to the right. So this is where it gets hard with those flames. Those flames are complete RNG where they are. So if I get unlucky and don't see them coming, I can potentially die right there if I don't do that safety. 20 seconds stone down. Lion, okay. Coming up is Dr. Carl's robot. I'm gonna be doing a pretty specific strategy for him. By the way, world record pace. This run is definitely so far. Okay, I'm gonna kill this antenna first. Six bombs there. Then I'm gonna be switching over to the top, kill this bomb. I'm gonna have a nuke here. Then I already have a parry spawn on screen. So this is gonna give me a super card, which I can use to two-cycle this guy. There we go. And then this final phase is just a bullet hell. Not much to do, you just have to be ready to dodge. Take a few variables if there's any. That's okay. Okay. That's well, if you exclude one of the mini-bosses in the end, on King Dice, this was the second to last play stage in the game. Okay, coming up, gonna be Werner Verman. Usually the boss order will be different on All Bosses Expert, I wanna mention this. Usually we'll be going over to Sally stage play, up on the top, and then going down to Werner. But on all of Flags, since I did Rugged Ridge, I unlocked the path to Werner Verman, and it turns out that doing the bosses in this order is faster. And I'm gonna be fighting Sally stage play later. Okay. This boss is not too hard. I'll be trying to do a few double damage lobbers when I have the opportunity. And this one is pretty cool, the way I can dodge these flames. And use that, shoot that lob reacts up to stall a bit, and it's gonna land down there at the bottom, which is gonna deal double damage. And on to final phase. This one is gonna be pretty quick. There it is. Okay, next boss is the polar opposite. It's one of the hardest bosses in the game, and there's a fair amount of randomness to it. And he can do pretty much anything he wants. He can choose to do some gun attacks, he can do summons, and even there he has 3 possible summons. And it's all made worse by the fact that it's one of those fights where he gets invisibility after a certain point, and he cannot transition until he's done with an attack. So basically I want to try and get in as few cycles as possible to avoid as much invisibility as possible. Let's try and take a parry here. That's okay. Gonna dodge all the rest. Okay, good RNG. It's a squid summon, it's completely harmless. Oh, this one is a little bit less harmless. A good RNG again. He has one really bad summon, which is the duckfish. But I didn't get those. It's very nice. And then final phase is very scripted. That's okay. Oh, that's not okay. I had to dodge that. Okay. Ooh, okay. Took that death. That's okay. I can redo this boss. Hopefully this can show why this boss is bad. He can sometimes give those really bad and nasty patterns. Here's another gun. Yeah. Look at damage there. Still no duckfish, which is really nice. Try and use a few of those to get out. Still no dogfish, nice. Actually kill this one now. Killing this squid earlier ends the attack, and I knew I had the phase transition right there, so it's always gonna trigger though. Okay, right this beam. Some people don't know that this beam is parryable, but it is big. Safe. Okay, that was Captain Briny-Beard. Again, the final phase is completely scripted. There's no randomness at all, but still, it's still dangerous. As I got to prove. Okay, coming up is the final running stage, which again is optional. It's only gonna be featured, flags. There's a trick I could have potentially done on this stage, which is called Octopus Skip. There is an auto-scroller at the end, which you can skip, but first of all, it's very much luck-based. If some random spawning shrimps hit me at any point during the skip, it's gonna be very unlikely that I get it. And second of all, the reason why I'm not doing it is because it requires at least 1 extra HP. So I would have had to buy a heart charm from the shop, which was used in an older route, but with this route, I'm not getting that, and so I'm just gonna have to ride the auto-scroller. Actually, one of the reasons why this route ended up being good is because, as told by Studium the Charm themselves, we had no idea, you can actually shoot this octopus, and when you do that, that actually speeds up the auto-scroller. This octopus travels faster. Okay, just gonna be finishing this off. The end is near. Okay, now Spiral Spears. Not a bad time either. Okay, final playing stage, again excluding the mini-boss and King Dice. Calamaria, not that much to say. Can get tricky with all the bullets, especially in the second phase, but I have ways to deal with everything. So hopefully it shouldn't be too bad. Take it from a distance. Now she's gonna do fish. It's another one of those fights where she is scripted in her attacks. What's random is where she starts in that attack list. That was a mistake. That's okay though. Gonna be taking a damage boost here to avoid this petrifying gaze. This one is very dangerous. Let me stay up close. Yeah, got hit by that one. That's okay. Watch that. In final phase, there's luckily a very good way to cheese this. If you just stand up close, those hitboxes don't work. So that's very lucky. One thing you have to worry about is those spiky balls, but you have there's enough room from the right edge of the screen and to Calamaria's head. There's a slight space in between where you can see those spikes incoming. I basically use that to know in advance where I have to dodge to. Okay, stage play again. I would have fought her earlier. Was I doing all bosses? But for all flags, you just delay her to later. This attack is really dangerous. Okay, she can appear, especially where she vanishes and reappears in a random spot around Cuphead, and on expert mode you have very little time to react to where she is. So it's very easy to get hit by that one. Okay, that was phase 1. Phase 2, I'm gonna be trying to go for some double damage lobbers. That's it. This one will make this phase pretty fast. Yeah, I think I might have missed the final one. That's okay though. We're being too far away. I'm gonna be trying to go for well, I'm gonna think the next attack. Rather big wave. I was expecting big wave. So this one, I'm gonna go for a quick kill. Okay, I got that lob reacts. I didn't get that one. Okay, so that's fine. I'm gonna have to chase her. And that was Sally. You can potentially kill her to the left. That saves a couple seconds. But I don't think it's about right there. I don't think it's about saving time. It's more about it being impressive. Looks pretty cool when you actually can get the quick kill. Okay, Phantom Express, also a really tough fight. Really good fight to end out 3 with. Let me try and go for one cycle on the skeleton. That's gonna be the really hard part about this fight. Let me try and focus a little bit actually. This one can get pretty tricky. Do that. Okay, should have a pretty good setup. Got it, nice. That is really a really hard one to pull off. Glad I got it. Okay, third phase. I'm just gonna be doing some optimizations. Okay, move it over to the right and get that lob react off. Okay, final phase. I'm also gonna be doing going for a hard one cycle strategy. See if I can get it. Makes it easier to have these pumpkins actually, because they give me more Yax moves. Nice. Okay, that was aisle 3. All I have left is Inkwell Hell. That's gonna be the end of the game. King Dice, I think the route they're doing King Dice is pretty unique. You don't really see the selection of mini-bosses I'm gonna be doing anywhere else, really. You'll see. Okay. So the way the next fight works is you have to go through a board and you have to spin roll a dice. Depending on what you get on the dice, you fight a different mini-boss. You have to basically fight at least one mini-boss per set of 3 numbers. So I'll go for number 1. Number 1 is a very odd choice. But for experts specifically, number 2 and 3 are not good. Number 3 is not good because of the weapon setup I'm using. And yeah, number 2 is not good for the weapon setup I'm using. And number 3 is really good on regular mode, but for expert, his attack cycles last for not long enough for you to be able to get the fight done in a small amount of cycles. This fight has an annoying glitch, though, which makes it harder. The dead bodies of those 2 drinks, they actually stay there and they block some shots. Spread can go through them. Spread can go through them, but Lobber cannot. So that's why I wasn't using Lobber at all there. Okay, number 6. This fight is really dangerous. Not much else to say. It is the fastest, so that's what I'm doing. Can get pretty rough, especially with those light blue ghosts right there in the middle. If they want to hit you, they can. They sure will. Yeah, you want to avoid staying low there as much as possible. Okay, that's the fight. Next up is number 8, the Magic 8 Ball. That's exactly what I'm gonna be doing. This one isn't too bad. Shouldn't hopefully give me any trouble. Because any mistake will result in death right here, since I'm at 1 HP. Okay. And it's only... all that's left is King Dice himself. This one can't get rough. The playable cards I have to fall back on, they are even more spaced out on experts, so if my movement is not precise, I can very easily get hit, in this case die. Here's hoping. That was a really rough. Good thing I saved my X. That was a really rough pattern on the final set of cards. That's okay. All that's left is the devil. Final boss of the game. This fight can get tough. That's it. I can say that about pretty much most of the fights of the game, but this guy specifically. He has a bunch of randomness in phase 1, some attacks get really hard to dodge. And then later on in phase 3, that's also something I'm pretty concerned about. Spider, that's by far the worst attack in the game. Well, not really, that's probably an exaggeration, but it's by far the worst attack in this guy. Okay. That was not too bad, actually. Should be getting the face transition right here. There you go. Ooh, that was still on screen. Okay, I'm gonna be doing a pulse buffer here. That allows me to move during a cutscene. It saves around a second. Put that. This phase can get rough. Hopefully it's gonna be quick. Okay. And time is on the knockout right here. There you go. That was not that bad of a run. Okay, that was all flags. Which again will be the base submission will be all bosses, and as a donation incentive I will have this one with the extra running on stages. I think this category is pretty cool since it's full of tech. It's full of optimizations everywhere. Very hard in a lot of places too, and which is also further enhanced by the fact that I'm playing on expert. Not that much else to say. That is Cuphead, and have a nice day.